She hadn't meant to collapse on the side of the road, but her legs gave out long before she could reach the town limits. Clara sank into the brittle winter yellow grass, clutching her baby to her chest as the sun slid low behind the hills. The baby's tiny cries pierced the cold afternoon, thin and desperate from hours without milk. Clara whispered soft assurances, even though she had nothing left to give, her throat as dry as the dust rising from the distant ranch road. The world had blurred around her edges, and the weight of exhaustion pressed her down like a stone sinking through water. A sharp wind tugged at her shawl as she curled around her son, trying to block the cold, rocking him with what little strength remained. She didn't know how much longer she could fight the pull of unconsciousness. The distant sound of hooves broke through her haze. Clara looked up, vision swimming, and saw a cowboy atop a chestnut gelding trotting toward her. At first she feared he might not stop, might ride past like others had, pretending not to see a woman in need. But when he drew closer, his posture shifted from relaxed to alarmed. He halted the horse with a firm tug, swung his leg over, and landed on the ground with a thud. His boots crunched against the dry grass as he rushed to them. He knelt, shadows sharp across his jaw, and she saw worry flash through his dark eyes. Without a word, he shrugged off his coat and covered her trembling body, then gently lifted her baby into his hands. The infant wailed louder, sensing new warmth and attention. The cowboy's voice softened as he murmured, "He's hungry, ain't he? Don't worry, I got you." His tone carried certainty, the kind that steadied Clara's spiraling fear. Clara tried to speak, but her lips were numb from cold and exhaustion. The cowboy didn't press her. Instead, he helped her sit up, wrapping the coat more snugly around her shoulders. She caught the lingering scent of leather and cedar in the fabric, grounding her. When her head lulled, he steadied her with one arm behind her back. She stared at him, wondering why this man cared. Strangers had ignored her before, leaving her and her newborn to fend for themselves. But this cowboy looked at her like she mattered. He picked up her baby again, bouncing gently, trying to soothe him. "I'm L.A. Granger," he said, as if they had all the time in the world. "My ranch is a mile from here. You two ain't spending another minute in this grass." His voice left no room for argument. Eli whistled, and his horse trotted closer. He helped Clara onto the saddle, supporting her trembling legs. She clutched the horn weakly while he mounted behind her, cradling the baby in one arm as if he'd been doing it all his life. The ride felt surreal. Clara, barely conscious, leaned back against him, grateful for the physical warmth. She felt the firm strength of his chest, and for the first time in days, she let herself breathe deeper. The wind cut harshly across her cheeks, but Eli shielded her as best he could. Her baby cried softly against him, and each time Eli murmured something soothing. She drifted in and out of awareness, hearing only the steady rhythm of hooves and the quiet promise in Ella's voice when he said, "You're safe. I got you." The ranch house appeared like a miracle, a sturdy home with smoke rising from the chimney and warm lamplight glowing through the windows. Eli brought the horse to a halt and lifted Clara off carefully, as if she might break. He carried her inside with surprising gentleness, calling out to his housekeeper, "Miss June." The older woman rushed over, her apron flapping as she noticed the baby's cries. Eli explained quickly, and Miss June's expression softened into a mix of concern and determination. She fetched blankets, warm milk, and a bottle. Clara watched through blurry eyes as Eli tested the milk's temperature on his wrist before feeding the baby, his hands steady despite his rugged exterior. The baby latched onto the bottle with a ferocity born of hunger, and Clara felt tears prick her eyes. Eli met her gaze and spoke softly. "He's gonna be just fine." She nodded, though emotion tightened her throat. Miss June helped Clara sit by the fire, wrapped her in more blankets, and pressed a warm cup of broth into her hands. Clara drank slowly, savoring every swallow. When her baby finally drifted to sleep, Eli laid him gently in Clara's arms, his touch lingering for a moment as if to reassure her again. He crouched beside her, his voice calm. "You want to tell me what happened?" She hesitated. Her past felt heavy, tangled with shame and fear. But Eli's steady presence nudged something loose in her. She told him about her husband, how he disappeared months ago, leaving her pregnant and alone. How she'd searched everywhere, spending the last of her money on leads that went nowhere. How she'd fainted on that road after walking for miles trying to reach town for help. Eli listened without interrupting, his jaw tightening when she spoke of her husband abandoning her. He didn't pity her. He looked angry on her behalf, and somehow that gave Clara strength. When she finished, he placed a hand on her shoulder. "You ain't alone anymore? Not while you're on my land." His voice carried a sincerity she hadn't expected from a stranger. She opened her mouth to protest, to say she didn't want to be a burden, but Eli shook his head. "You're not burdening nobody. You're tired, you're hungry, and you showed damn courage making it this far." Over the next few days, Clara regained strength. Eli made sure she ate well, rested, and stayed warm. He even fixed up a small room near the kitchen for her and the baby. Clara found herself watching him through the window as he worked the ranch rounding up cattle, repairing fences, helping the hands load hay. He moved with quiet confidence, never boasting or expecting anything in return. Miss June noticed Clara's glances and offered a knowing smile, but didn't comment. One morning, Clara stepped outside with her baby bundled in her arms. Eli stood near the corral, tightening his saddle strap. When he saw her, his expression brightened. "Feeling better?" She nodded, shifting the baby slightly. "Because of you," she admitted. He shook his head. "Nah, you got that strength yourself. I just gave you a place to rest." But Clara knew better. He'd given her more than rest. He'd given her hope she thought she'd lost. As days turned into a week, Clara found herself helping around the ranch folding laundry, prepping vegetables with Miss June, and humming gently to her baby as he slept in a basket by the fire. Eli often checked on them, lingering in the doorway with a softness she'd never seen in him before. In the evenings, he sat with them, telling stories about ranch life, making Clara laugh even when she tried not to. Sometimes their eyes met a moment too long, and Clara felt warmth bloom in her chest. She wondered if he felt it too. One afternoon, storm clouds rolled in fast. Clara stood on the porch holding her baby when thunder cracked overhead. The baby startled, crying loudly. Eli quickly climbed the steps and pulled off his coat, draping it over Clara just as he had the day they met. "Get inside," he urged with a grin. "Storm's moving quick." She stepped in close, the coat warm around her, Eli's hands brushing her arms. Their eyes met again, and for a heartbeat, the rest of the world fell away. But the storm brought more than rain. A rider appeared the next morning, a man with a rough beard and mean eyes, Clara's missing husband. He claimed he'd come to retrieve what's his. Clara froze, fear returning like a ghost she thought she'd outrun. Eli stepped in front of her, broad shoulders forming a wall. "She ain't property," Eli growled. The man spat something cruel, and Eli's jaw clenched. He didn't raise his fists. He didn't need to. His presence alone was enough. After a tense standoff, the man rode away, cursing under his breath. Clara's knees almost buckled from relief. Eli turned to her, voice gentler. "He won't bother you here. Not ever again." She believed him. Another week passed. Clara knew she should leave soon. She couldn't rely on Eli forever. But each time she looked at him holding her baby, or laughing with Miss June, or riding across the land with sunlight catching his hair, her heart tightened. One evening, under a sky streaked with fading pink, she approached him while he fixed a gate. Her baby slept nearby in his basket. Eli glanced up, wiping sweat from his brow. Clara took a shaky breath. Eli, I don't know how to thank you. Asterisk, he stood slowly, eyes warm. You already did. Asterisk, how? She whispered. Asterisk, he stepped closer, lifting a strand of hair from her cheek. By Stan. By letting me care for you both. By making this place feel like a home again. Asterisk, her breath caught. Do you want us to stay? More than anything, he admitted. Clara felt tears slip down her cheeks. Eli brushed them away. Then he leaned forward, his forehead resting gently against hers. You and that baby, you're safe here. And if you'll let me, I'd like to be part of your lives. Asterisk, Clara's heart swelled, fragile and full. She nodded, letting herself believe in the new life opening before her. Her baby stirred softly, and Eli picked him up with practiced ease, cradling him against his chest. Clara watched them, warmth flooding her. Asterisk, her journey had started with hunger, fear, and cold grass. But it led to something she'd never expected: safety, love, and a man who'd given her everything he could from the moment. He took off his coat and knelt beside her in the dying light. Asterisk, and now, for the first time in a long time, Clara wasn't just surviving. She was home,